I'm getting ready to tell you a Mandela Effect that's recently been discovered that blew my wig sideways. I remember distinctively sounding it out and saying, that's a strange way to say a name or spell a name. I guess the two A's would make it ah instead of ah. I remember looking at that and thinking to myself, Thanksgiving.
Junior want to not be on my I can't really see where did I miss ex-strippers.
Friends, have you ever been absolutely 100% sure that you remember something a certain way, only to find out that's not really how it happened? It could be a movie quote. It could be a box of cereal. It could even be your favorite childhood book. And y'all know where I'm going with this. You later discover that not only are you not remembering correctly, but millions of people who don't know each other, never seen one another, never been around each other, live in different countries, grew up in different lives, all have these same memories, but it never happened. Y'all know we're getting into the Mandela Effects today. Now, friends, I done found out some new ones while I was minding my business being nosy, and now my wheels is turning because something's not right and somebody's lying and it's not me. Now, friends, let me bring you up to speed. In case you don't know what the Mandela Effect is, or you're new here, never heard of it, it's basically a memory that thousands of people had about something happening back in the 80s with Nelson Mandela going on to glory while he was in prison. But in reality, on this timeline that we live in, friends, he didn't go on to glory in the 80s. Matter of fact, he got out of prison in the 90s, went on to be president of South Africa, and then in 2013, he went on to glory. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. That's the timeline I live on because I was born in 1990. So I don't have any memory of anything that happened before that because I was with the Lord. Okay? But yeah, that's where the name stems from. Thousands of people remember that. But history tells us that's not what happened. What they like to say about us people who share memories that they say never happened is that we're a community of people sharing false memories, but that's not true in my opinion. One explanation for this, according to researchers, is that our memory isn't perfect. It doesn't create a perfect snapshot of what actually happened. Now, I can say that I could stand with that, except for the memories that we have tend to be very large, very significant, and over a long period of time. You remember something slightly different, and then all of a sudden that becomes your reality. That feels very real to you. I have made up so many scenarios in my mind where I was like a super ninja and I was out here going through it. You hear me? Taking everybody through there, but I know that never happened. It's not my reality. I don't remember it that way. Maybe one day when I'm 93, I will think that I used to be a secret super ninja that was doing stuff. But right now, today, I know that I'm making that up in my head. So I don't know if I believe that little subtle, I made this up in my mind and now I believe it. No, I don't think that's it. Well, there's another group of people, my people, maybe your people, if you're here, who seem to think that quantum physics is involved. Maybe there's been some type of parallel universe or dimension mixed in with ours, the timeline shift, the reality change. I think that's more along the basis that I'm going to play in. That's the field that I'm going to be on because, yeah, everybody ain't crazy. However, whatever that explanation may be, friends, I can tell you this, new Mandela effects continue to appear year after year after year. Before we get into the newest Mandela effects, let's go down memory lane to the legends. We have to do the honorable mentions. Number one, the Fruit of the Loom logo. If you ask anybody 30 and up, maybe 28 and up, what the logo looked like, they're almost always going to tell you, friends, that it was a basket-shaped cornucopia filled with fruit. I remember that. I remember it. I remember looking at that and thinking to myself, Thanksgiving. I'm telling you, I would think Fruit of the Loom, Thanksgiving, only because of the cornucopia. Now, although a lot of us have this memory, allegedly, according to branding history for Fruit of the Loom, they've never had a cornucopia. Now, how are we remembering that? The Monopoly Man. Now, millions of people remember him having a monocle on his eye like this. I remember that. We played Monopoly all night long. Nobody won that game. But according to this brand, he never had a monocle. He never had a monocle. Now, here's where I have to insert something fishy going on. Because everybody know, allegedly, that the Monopoly Man is inspired by J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan was so big into monopolizing things that he had his own name for it, that he called it Morganizing. monopolizing the railroad, electricity. J.P. Morgan was on top of it. He had a monocle. Monopoly man in my timeline had a monocle, but they're telling us today, no, he didn't. Never had one. Even though we model him after the monopolizer himself, he monopolized so hard that he changed the name to Morganize. I need to calm down. Okay, friends. Last but not least, this ain't all of them. But let's get into Pikachu. Because I know you lying. Pikachu had a black tail or no black tail? Was it all yellow or did it have a black tip? Which one do you remember? Because I remember the black in the tail. Pikachu, I Choose You did not have an all yellow tail. But in this timeline, they say, it's always been all yellow. What are you talking about? You're remembering wrong. I'm getting ready to tell you a Mandela effect that's recently been discovered that blew my wig sideways. Avocado eaters. We all love to buy avocados. Haas avocados. How you spell that, friend? When you go to the store and you're picking through the avocados and you see the sign that say 2 for $5 or you can get the bag for $5.99, depending on whether or not you got your little special discount card. How is it spelled? Is it Haas? Haas avocados? Or is it Hass? Haas avocados? I'm going to let you think about that. You said what now? Did you say HAAS? Wrong. According to the people that be, it's HASS. Haas avocado. They don't even say Haas. They say Haas. Haas avocados. I've been buying Haas avocados for as long as I've been on the planet and able to shop in the grocery store with money in my pocket, even if it was a stamp or two. It has been HAAS all my life, friends. I remember distinctively sounding it out and saying, that's a strange way to say a name or spell a name. I guess the 2 A's would make it ah instead of eh. Haas avocados. But they telling us today, it's always been HASS. So next time y'all in the store, don't buy no Haas avocados. Get the Haas ones. Get the Haas avocados because somebody is playing with us. What do you remember, friend? The Lincoln Memorial is now making the list, friends. I'm not making this up. I wish I was, but I'm not. I'm going to put up a picture. And I want you to take a good look at the Lincoln Memorial. And how do you remember it? Whether you've seen it in a textbook or you've seen it in person. Abe Lincoln sitting in a chair. Look at his hands, friends. Do you remember one hand balled up? And the other one just wide open like he's sitting in a chair? Or do you remember both hands open like normal people sit in chairs? You tell me what you remember. I don't know. Maybe he had $20 bill or something balled up waiting to give to somebody. Did they have $20 bills then? Well, maybe he had a little tissue paper to wipe his nose. I don't know. I've never seen the Lincoln Memorial in my memory with his hand balled up in one arm and the other arm with his hand resting open on the chair. I don't remember seeing it. Maybe you do. Maybe I'm tripping. Last but not least, the great emoji debate. Now, you know we love our emojis. Half of the time, we're only using emojis like typing in cuneiform. I don't know who rearranging what, but put it back. Now, ask me this, friends. Do I remember? And I'll tell you yes. But do you remember the robber on your emoji keyboard? Do you remember the swordfish? No, wait. Do you remember the seahorse? All on your emoji keyboard? Baby, I'm here to tell you today, it never happened. Never existed, never was real, not in a previous keyboard or a new one. It was never there, according to them. And my mind is blown. At this point in the video, it's probably fair to note that there are two camps of people. One group who believes something is going on that's not being explained to us properly or even told to us. While there is another group that are just like, hey, your memory is just foggy. You're just following what other people are saying. Those people probably not on this video. Or they might be down in the comments talking trash about us. But I'm of the first group. What are you, friend? While skeptics believe that our brains are just filling in missing parts and that we're just believing what everyone else says, there are those of us who believe that something else is happening, possibly at CERN, possibly with us crossing into very similar timelines. Now, it's important to note that none of this has been scientifically proven that CERN is doing anything crossing us into timelines, and these are all alleged theories. But what do you think is happening? Just put on your thinking cap. Maybe it's silver and tin, you know? Put it on there. What do you think, friend? And I also can't forget to remember those friends who think that possibly we're living in a simulation. And each Mandela effect is like an update that happened that didn't quite get the previous render correct. You know what I mean, friends? Like, you know, you get an update on your phone, all of a sudden you lose a feature that you really liked before and it's gone, or that you remember and now it's no longer there. I mean, it's all just philosophical speculation. We're just using our two eyeballs to interpret what's happening around us in the universe and recall things into existence. And there's no way I remember my password, but I can't remember how Haas avocado is spelled. Scientists are saying that memory isn't like a video file. Okay, friends? They say every time you recall a memory, you rebuild it in your mind. And you could definitely taint that memory if you're constantly filling it with false additives until where you believe it. So that's what they think is actually happening. It's called memory reconstruction. So that is the scientific basis to why so many people are having this idea. However, here's where I throw in the caveat. Some of the Mandela effects remain surprisingly so compelling because before people were on the internet talking about this, there were so many people having the same memory with no connection. Same stories, same details. Like Shazam with Sinbad. Or even the Berenstain Bears and not the Berenstain. How is that possible? Are Mandela effects just proof that human memory is far less reliable than we like to believe? And if it is, I don't believe nothing y'all wrote down in them history books. I don't believe who said they saw what, when, where, and how. I don't believe you know what they was doing in the Renaissance and the Dark Ages. I don't believe it. Because it's all memory recalling. You're not going to tell me mine is wrong. Anyway, friends, let me get out of this because I'm being biased right now. However, is that what's happening? Or are these just tiny clues to something we really don't understand? While there's no evidence that we're in a different reality, there is so much evidence that our memories can be so convincing even when they're supposedly inaccurate. Now, whether you believe the Mandela effect is psychology or just one of the internet's most fascinating theories online, one thing's for certain and constant: new Mandela effects pop up every year and people are talking about them, including us. So you're going to have to drop down in the comments, friend, and tell me what new Mandela effects have you discovered that made you stop and think, wait a minute, am I going through something? Is this an early onset? Is something going on with my mind? Am I in another reality? Put them in the comment section so I can see if I remember the same thing. And maybe we can feature it in our next episode about Mandela effects. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell if you like this content and you want to join the family. Thank you for watching, friends. And of course, I really hope I ain't got y'all up in too much of a tizzy. I'm going to call y'all back later on. Bye.